friends, thanks for joining me, and today I want to talk to you about how to save for big purchases. Last time we did a video on compounding interest and we learned about how the minimum payments look innocent enough and that, even the interest rates look small, but when you actually add up how much you're paying over time, it's actually a startlingly high amount of money, and I feel like in a lot of instances we're actually being taken advantage of. So this time I want to talk to you about how to save for those big purchases, because I don't want to leave you feeling discouraged, like it's not possible to not have a car unless you have that car payment. And I want to tell you that you can. Anything that you can finance, you can actually pay cash for. So stuff like cars, you can absolutely buy and pay for those in cash. Home renovations, if you want to redo your kitchen or, add another bedroom on or something like that, any kind of home renovation, you don't have to take out a second mortgage for that. You can actually pay cash for that. Furniture, electronics is another good one. The latest cell phone or, a new laptop, whatever it is you may have your eye on or a need for, definitely able to pay cash for those things without having to put those on credit cards. Again, even a down payment for a house or property or anything else, you can obviously come up with the cash for all of those things. Step one is to start a separate savings account for this thing. So if you, whatever the thing is, start an account for that. Most banks or credit unions, wherever it is, whatever financial institution that you go through, usually has accounts that you can open for free. Start an account just for this thing, and don't make it a checking account, make it a savings account. Especially if this is not something that you can just save for in 2 weeks. This is something you're going to need, several months for or whatnot. So start an account for that. And then the next thing you do is when you get paid, treat it like a bill. Treat putting money into this account like it were a bill. So say we were saving for a car and you want to put $200 or $300 aside or something like that. Payday comes around, you treat it like it were, a hard and fast bill, just like anything else. You put that $200 or $300 in that savings account first, and then you spend the money after that. This is really important that the money come first, because if we save money from leftover from what we spend, it'll always end up to where we overspend and don't put enough money in there. And then the next thing you do is you just watch it grow. Every time that payday comes along, you just keep putting that money aside until you finally have the amount that you're looking for. And there are a lot of good reasons why this is a better method for doing some things than it is to borrow. Because think about it this way. First of all, when we learned about the compounding interest, the total cost for a lot of things was way higher than the initial cost. Do you see what I'm saying? So if we were to save ahead, we actually have to save less money than if we were to borrow the money and then have to pay it back. Then we would have paid a whole lot more money for this item. So saving ahead actually saves us a ton of money because we don't have to pay for all of that interest. And another really huge benefit is that if we were to borrow ahead for something and then things were to come up, we can't just make that payment go away because our hours got cut at work or we got laid off or whatever, whatever the case may be. Something else comes up in life, we end up with some medical bills or something breaks. We have some other emergency. We have a car repair, If other expenses come up, we can't just not pay the bill. Otherwise, if it's a credit card or, some other loan, we could end up, with somebody threatening to sue us. We could end up with, our car repossessed if it was a financed car that we're no longer making payments on. And so once we borrow the money, we're obligated to that payment, and there's all that stress that comes around with it. A major benefit to saving ahead is that if something were to come up or come along, we could just put that on hold or reduce how much we put in that month. Okay, we had a car repair. We can't put 100 away this month. We have to just put 100. We had to put 200 into the car, and then you keep on going. There isn't that huge amount of stress. Of course, it takes a little longer before we can finally get to our goal. So we want to try to do this as little as possible, but it's a whole lot better than ending up with that car repossessed because we couldn't make the payments. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's the huge benefit, in my opinion, to, saving ahead for this thing. And the last biggest benefit, I think, is that we think harder about our purchases before we actually make them. So when we are saving ahead, if we have a certain car in mind that we want and we're saving for it month after month after month after month, it kind of gives us a lot of time to research these, look into different, stuff. What about Consumer Reports? What do they say on it? Crash testing, and are we sure we want to go this route? And, it gives us a lot of time to really think a purchase through before we actually make it. or even plan. It gives us a whole lot more time to plan. If it's a kitchen remodel or whatever else, you know, we might think it again and say, well, you know what, I originally had this in mind, but maybe this would actually work better in a practical sense, that sort of stuff. Saving ahead definitely helps us to make, in my opinion, probably better decisions than if we were to have impulse bought the item with credit. So there you go, friends. That's a really easy concept. It's really easy to start, but it is a little more tricky to stick to. So definitely keep that in mind. Keep, you know, like I said, one of my favorite things to do, like I've mentioned before, is to, you know, have visuals to keep me on track, because sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to, you know, keep these sort of things in mind. So having, you know, a picture of something or a quote or something else, you know, something that's encouraging that I can see every day, and then I know that this is the thing that I'm really working toward, it makes it a whole lot easier to stay on track with something and then not get distracted by other things. So there you go. Easy concept. Hopefully you can get this started if you're saving for something and then achieve your goals. So hopefully you found this video helpful to you. I'm Frugal Green Girl, and we'll see you next time.